Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Coach's Show with Coach Tommy Ties. I'm your host, Lauren Tepper, and we're here to analyze last week's game against a very, very quality opponent, Vilonia. Coach, that was a tough loss. It was senior night, and I know your kids were hyped. I made reference to it a lot. Jeremy Johnson led that team out on the field, and he had very high emotions, had a great game. And I know that senior class and all the Goblins really, really wanted that victory, but Vilonia was a tough team, and it was a good game.
Well, absolutely, you're right. Vilonia, a very, very good ball club. As we knew going in, Knowles and Sachs were two of the finest players in the league. We've certainly seen some outstanding teams in our league. Alma and Greenwood, Greenbrier, who Lauren, I don't know if you've noticed though, Greenbrier is in dire straits of maybe not even making the playoffs.
Right.
And ranked as high as number one in the state for a long time. That's kind of how our league is. It'll be a good football team that'll get left out. But Vilonia, one of the premier teams in the league, premier team. You look around the state, Batesville has an outstanding football team. Southeast is kind of a question mark about what's going on down there. Southwest is kind of jumbled up too, with maybe Fairview being a cut above everybody there. But in the West, Greenwood, Alma, Greenbrier, Vilonia, Siloam Springs, and we beat Siloam Springs. Right. I mean, kind of wish it's kind of like 6A where everybody got to go because, we would probably win a game in the playoffs. Everybody got to go, maybe two, because we're a pretty good football team. We're just not in that caliber.
Right.
And when you make a mistake here and there, it just, it costs you dearly. But, boy, Knowles was something else, wasn't he? He was really something else.
He did. He pretty much offensively took the game over.
He's a heart and desire guy. And he's 6 foot and he's 210 pounds and he runs about a 4.6 40. And you put all that, together with it, and he's quite the package. Sachs is too, the fullback. Sachs, unfortunately, he's a junior. Knowles is gone. Yes. We're glad to see Knowles go. Have a nice graduation party for him.
There's a couple of guys in this league you're going to get to see go.
And unfortunately, everybody just kind of reloads. But it was a good night. Our seniors certainly not the way we wanted them to go out, but they fought hard all the way. Fans stayed behind them. We appreciate that. We got to honor our seniors and their mamas and daddies before the game. And we really appreciate our parents. It takes a lot of sacrifice to allow a young man to be a ball player these days. And, where we really appreciate them and say thank you to those parents because, without them and the support that they give our players, we just wouldn't be able to do the things that we're able to do. And I've told this story before, but when we won the state championship in '99, I ran to the telephone to call my dad to thank him for allowing me to be a ball player. And, the lessons that I've learned, through this great sport, have carried me throughout my life, and the lessons that these kids have learned, they'll be able to fall back on them, and the relationships that they've made with their teammates, with their fans, with their families, and things like that will go on and forever. And a lot of memories, good memories we've made, but, not quite over. We got one game left, and we want to get that taste out of our mouth. We want to go out. I want these seniors to go out with a winning taste in their mouth because we owe them so much. They've been a great group, 19 of them. They've been there every day. Hardly ever any of them ever missed a practice for illness or anything else. Set a good example for the rest of our kids to go by, and we really appreciate them.
And it was exciting to see them, that senior class. The thing we really appreciated, even when the game was out of hand, and they never quit. They gave that intensity. The senior pride was out there, and it was a prideful thing to be a Goblin, and they showed that on their last night at
well, they certainly did.
Stadium.
Goblin pride is something we talked to them, about a lot. And, been easy for them to lay down there when the score got a little out of hand. But they didn't. Came back, hung 31 points on the board, still trying to win at the end of the game. It's just like we say, we never lose a game. We just run out of time. And we would like to have played another quarter or another 2 quarters, whatever it took to get the score on our side. But you don't get to do that. But was very proud of them. I thought they did a good job. I thought our crowd was great. Stayed behind our kids all the way. We've had great crowds all year long. And, really appreciate them, too, because we have great football fans, knowledgeable football fans here in Harrison. And we're going to be back in the conference race. We're going to be back in those playoffs because the main thing about, about being successful, the key word there is perseverance, and you got to persevere when times get a little tough, and you can't throw in the towel, you can't give up, you can't give in, you got to keep swinging.
With the playoff bracket, and I know that you were probably looking at it just a tad bit if we'd won at Vilonia. Looks like you would that number 4 seed is going to get to play Batesville. That's a tough team. We saw them early in the year. The 5A West, I can see those teams advancing. I mean, even the fourth seeded team out of the West could be Vilonia, and they're going to go to Batesville and play. And that's no slouch for Batesville. They lost their running back, Cody Vaughn. They hope to get him back, but it's just kind of interesting to watch it because you still keep an eye on it just to see what's going on.
And I'll guarantee you, nobody wants to play Vilonia.
Oh,
with that quarterback and that fullback, plus that crisscross offense, and they get into 2 tight ends and things like that, and you can't find the football, and nobody wants to play them. Yeah. And anybody else, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th teams out of the East, they're all going down.
Right. Because we've seen Greenwood, we've seen Alma, and either Greenbrier or whatever. Those are tough teams to play. Greenbrier. When you look at that matchup, and if Greenbrier falls to the 3 or 4 spot, boy, that'd be an interesting matchup to see. That
well,
you could see all of them go.
All those teams we've talked about in our league have difference makers, difference makers that can put a team on their shoulders and carry them. You talk about Greenwood, the quarterback Hogan,
yes,
Sandifer, Marco Voda. I mean, these guys can put a team on their shoulders and carry them. The running back, Sunday. I mean, my gosh. Then try going to Alma,
and Isaac McCoy.
With Isaac McCoy, who can put a team on his shoulders and carry him. Then you go to Siloam Springs, Pippin, those guys there. Greenbrier, Hunter Winston, and Neil Burcham. And then you come to Vilonia, and you've got Sachs, and you've got Knowles. Those people can put teams on their shoulders and carry them. And the strong example that they set for their teammates, they rally around them. They want to be like them, and they can get it done. And any of those teams, any of those 5 teams right there, can get the job done, and we'll represent the 5A West real well. And if Siloam Springs get in, and we whip them.
Yeah.
Like I told you when we started this, and I tell the team every year, it's going to be a yo-yo ride. I mean, it's going to be like a roller coaster. It's going to be up and down. And we've looked back, we've got some awfully good memories. But like I keep saying, we got unfinished work. And we got 1 game left to play, and certainly we're looking forward to that.
This week we go to your alma mater, Huntsville. You left there, and you like to go back and see the old folks, but you sure want that Goblin win, don't you?
Oh yeah, I mean it's it's pretty personal to me, to go back and win at Huntsville. They have they got a scary team. I mean, you look at what they've done, and they haven't won any conference games. In the Alma ball game, it's 14-14 with 6 minutes to go in the game, and Huntsville has the ball on their 25-yard line, and Alma ends up winning 28-14. Last week with Morrilton, they're up 25-10. Huntsville's ahead 25-10 in the 4th quarter, get beat 32-25. Now I'll tell you, this bunch scares me more than anything, and I'm not afraid of much. But I'm gonna tell you, Huntsville's team is scary. When you've got a Stevens at quarterback and you got a Furr out there at wide receiver, they can throw that thing all over the ballpark. They're a very excitable team because they're a very young team, and so this is the kind of game. But to me, it makes no difference who we're playing. It makes no difference if we're playing Huntsville or the Green Bay Packers or the Minnesota Vikings. I don't care. We got beat last week. Let's go get this thing done. Let's get that taste out of our mouth. Finish up with a good taste in our mouth, feeling good about ourselves, and let's get into the off season. And unfortunately, have to give our seniors up, and we don't enjoy that. But this is a big ball game for both teams, and a scary ball game because if you don't go over there with your head on right, Huntsville will hand it to you.
And this would be a big way to go out with, especially your quarterbacks and some of your underclassmen who go with a positive standpoint, looking forwards next year. Not that I want to talk about 2011 season.
No, I understand.
But you want that. We won. We know we finished 5-5 when nobody gave us a shot. Anybody outside of Harrison didn't give Harrison a shot to be anywhere near playing last week for a playoff spot. And this year, the only ones who believed was us here in Harrison and you with the motivation. But anybody outside, all the state medias and everybody else, didn't give Harrison a shot. Said, "Oh, that 5A West, it's a 2-team race." But come to find out, there were 6 teams still fighting for 4 spots. In week 9.
Exactly, and that's how balanced it is. And really, and of course we're one of the teams that you talk to Alma, you talk to Greenwood, Siloam, those people. Harrison scares them to death because of the tradition, because of the never give up attitude, because of our fans, and because of our expectations. We have high expectations in Harrison to do well. We should have. You should have them everywhere. But this is one of those places they do have high expectations, and I like that. People aren't happy. I'm not happy. Do I look happy? I'm not the least bit happy. I think we ought to be in those playoffs. I think we ought to win the conference championship. I don't want to hear about, we don't have this, we don't have that. All I want to know is what time's the game start. Let's tee it up and get after it. But you're exactly right. It's a tough old league, man. I'm telling you what now. And Morrilton, gosh, to come back and win like they did last week, had a chance to beat us in the fourth quarter. They had us 28-17 in the fourth quarter. We come back, I tell you what, now I appreciate those kids on that one. They hung in there. And then last week, they come back to beat Huntsville in the fourth quarter at Huntsville. That's a young football team. Criswell, one of the premier players in the league.
That is an athlete.
And the little quarterback, his name escapes me, from Morrilton, had a great game at Huntsville. We bottled him up pretty good, except on a couple of runs. But he got loose in Huntsville, did a heck of a job over there.
Well, Coach, let's take a short break. We come back. Let's start looking at the highlights of the Vilonia Harrison Goblins game. We'll be right back.